Hello, Vidushi. Vishwas, good evening. Good evening. And yes, I'm fine right now. Chetan, Vikulp, good evening, everyone. Hello, Soham. Yeah. Uh, yes, Vedaptra. I'm good right now. I'm fine. Please organize descriptive classes for English also. How to prepare phase one. See, except questions related to the class which I'm going to start, whatever you have, please ask me after the class. It's at the end of the class. I'm not going to take any question except which is on the topic which I'm going to take. All the questions you can ask me at the end of the session. I'll take those questions. But during the session and before starting the session, I'm not going to take any question except the topics because students are complaining कि during the class sir is taking questions which is out of the topic and that is breaking the flow of the class. So considering that as a request, I'm not going to take any question right now. I'll take it at the end. I will take it, but at the end of the session, not right now. Okay. Good evening, Vrishali. So, so today we are going to take a topic of what? That is topic on fintech. The topic of fintech. Okay. So, what is fintech? Means it's comprised of two words: finance and technology. Finance and technology. Now we called it as what? We called in simple terms, we called it as a fintech. So fintech is a kind of term which associates both finance and technology. So my question is, this relationship of finance and technology is new or recent or old? This relation between finance and technology is recent. Is it recent or old or new? What do you feel? It's recent, old, or new? New recent. New recent. Okay. Like finance and technology is being called as a fintech, and this phenomena is new recent. It is old, just change the name. It is old, but change the name. How it is old and why the name is changed? If it is old, how means how you can claim that it is old and why the name is changed? Not so old, not so too recent. Okay. Any other view? See, when we say finance, here there is an involvement of what? Money, right? Finance, some person is going to lend the money and other is going to borrow the money, right? So the organized way of lending and borrowing through what particular organization, we use the term finance, right? So wherever the money is involved, involvement of money, there is always involvement of what? Risk, right? There is an involvement of what? There is an involvement of risk. And in order to minimize the risk, in order to minimize the risk or mitigate the risk, right? In order to either minimize, or we can say that mitigate the risk, right? So we have to find new avenues through which we can minimize and mitigate the risk for the purpose of lending and borrowing, or in other terms we can say that the financing, right? So that is why it is always considered tech, right? The technology can help us in order to minimize the risk or to mitigate the risk, right? Technology always assists us to minimize the risk and or mitigate the risk. Okay, so this is always a very important role played by what? Technology. Very important role played by technology in order to minimize as well as mitigate the risk. When we talk about in terms of what? Risk taking. And other thing related to finance, why we use the technology, right? That is ease of doing work. So technology always allow us to do that work in the small amount of time. For example, initially the use of calculators, typewriters, all these things that can help us to minimize our workload. Fine. So technology and finance. The technology and finance relationship is not new, not recent. It is an old age phenomena. Since the inception of finance banking in the organized manner, there is a technology used for various purposes, right? In order to make special papers for the check, to prevent the check frauds, right? Technology is used, right? In order to issue the banknotes, bank papers, technology is used. So technology's relation with the finance is not recent, neither new. It is an old relationship between finance and technology. In recent times, there is a more use of what? Information communication technology. So when we say the fintech or the finance tech, then actually the purpose is what? Or the hidden message is what? The more use of information and communication technology in the services of what? In the domain of finance, right? So more use, or you can say that the finance which is based on, right? Earlier finance was taking a help, means the domain of finance was taking a help in order to run the business as for the purpose of ease of doing the business and to mitigate and minimize the risk. For that purpose, technology was used in the domain of finance. Okay, but over the years, now technology is driving the finance. Earlier we was using it for our purpose. Now it is a technology which started driving the business of finance, and especially which technology? The technology of information communication technology, which is used for the purpose of deriving this finance. So that's why the term fintech gained popularity, right? It gained popularity. Fine. So the fintech. Okay. So I hope you got the basic understanding what fintech actually means. Generally, fintech in the very simplest way, it is finance plus technology, right? But which technology? Banks, finance institutions, or those people who are involved in this activity, they are using the technology since the beginning of this concept. So technology is never new to the finance. Technology is always there, was always there, is there, and will be there. So technology is always there, right? Especially in other words, we can say that the entire organized finance, the entire way of doing organized what? Organized finance, that is based on what? That is only based on technology only. Without technology we can't do that organized activity of finance. Fine, it is not possible. It is not possible. But when you are doing the finance activity which is going to run, you are going to do each and everything with the help of, on the, not help, on the basis of, we are taking help and we are based on it. So they are the two terms. One is we are based on it, other is we are taking help of it. So for example, banks, when you will visit the branch of a bank, so bank is taking a help of doing what, doing the business, they are taking the help of technology. But you need not to go bank, you have just opened your mobile phone and you went to the mobile banking on all the services which is available at branch. All those services are available right now in the mobile banking application. So this is now the banking is going to be based on what, technology, right? Not just help of technology, it is based on the technology. Then the term is getting popular day by day, known as what, fintech technology. Okay, I hope this is having a much clarity. Technology in bank is being used since 1980s, so it is relevant. Parashuram, again, that the what you are referring the use of technology, that is information technology. Technology is always used for financing business. We already use the technologies for financing like Swift. We transfer the cross-border payments. Cross-border payments. Okay. So now let's move further. So the next question is how this fintech gained momentum. Momentum in last decade. How this term has taken a momentum in last decade, right? Especially in the last decade. So actually credit goes to what? Goes to Bitcoin, right? Or the use of, in other words, we can say that Bitcoin was an instrument which has shown कि yes, it is possible to use technology only, or it is possible to use the finance. It is possible to use the entire finance activity based on information communication technology, right? So it was a big moment when the Bitcoin system was started, and gradually it gained momentum. It was launched in 2009, but later on from 2011-12 started gaining momentum. And the entire decade, that entire decade, Bitcoin has given a confidence to those people who are just thinking about to have a system which is based on what, technology. They are thinking about कि we want to establish a system of finance based on what? Based on technology, but they are not able to do it because nobody was doing. So when the Bitcoin system was introduced and started working, and over the years it gained the momentum, right? It gained the momentum. Then people start realizing कि yes, it is possible to start the entire finance activity over the technology only. There is no need for physical presence, right? There is no need for the physical presence. Or with the use of what, with the use of technology, we can do the entire activity. So that's why in the last decade this fintech gained momentum, and right now it is also gaining momentum in country like India. It is already popular in the Western front, means on the West, means US, Europe. It is already very popular even in China and Japan, all these countries which are either developed countries or high developing countries. Already the use of technology for the purpose of finance is already popular. But in India, it gained momentum because when the power was changed in 2014 and new government came into the power, they started pushing the use of more digital way of doing the business, right? So since then it has gaining significant momentum over the years. So even right now government is also supporting fintech, right? And the major thrust for the government to supporting the fintech, two purpose. Why government is supporting too much? The two purpose Can you tell me what is the purpose? What is the main purpose of the government to supporting the fintech? Why government is very keen to support the fintech? Even recently, our finance minister, when she was attending a session in Washington DC of IMF, she announced that we are going to open somewhere around 22 banks. Then later on, she clarified that is going to be based on digital banking. That is the fintech based bank. Abhishek is saying that financial inclusion. Very good. One of the reason why government is promoting what? Why government is promoting fintech? That is for financial inclusion. Government can access the data. Government is already having all the data. Fintech is not required for the government to access your data. Government have a legitimate power to collect all of your data. So fintech is not required to collect your data. Government already have too much statutory power in order to collect your data. So for data collection is not required to promote the digitalization. Yash is saying that to promote the digitalization. Yes, it is for the promotion of digitalization. Means with the help of digitalization, because of digitalization, you are able to push fintech. So yes, there are two sides of the coin, right? But we can't say that why government is pushing for that. Actually, with the help of digitalization, government is pushing fintech. Vedamrita is saying that easy transmission of government policies and scheme. Yes, you can say that. You can say that. So your answer was okay. To promote the new opportunities in the space era, agri field, green technology, etc. Digitalization can help to fight against the corruption. Yes. So one is the financial inclusion. One is a financial inclusion, and other is to promote and accelerate business activity in India. To promote and accelerate the business activity in India. Because this fintechs, this fintechs, they are not like a typical bank who have to fulfill all regulatory requirements which is pushed on them because they are a big organization, and they are more or less working for all sectors. Whereas if you will look at fintech are basically focusing on certain sectors only of the economy. For example, right now their area of focus is what? MSME sector, right? Their area of focus, the main area of focus of fintech is MSME sector. MSME sector is a sector where the micro, small, and medium industries are there, and sometimes because of too much regulatory norms with the banks and NBFCs, they are facing difficulty. So fintech are able to provide them a requirement, whereas they are also catering the requirement of consumers consumers or consumers consumers credit requirements. Consumers credit requirement. Acha, other answers are also there. To help to reduce the informal sector also, yes, obviously. Also to connect the government directly with the people by launching e-rupee. Yes, that is also another way of connecting. So yes, you can say that that fintech is also going to enable government to connect with people within very short span of time. Within short span of time, government is able to connect and connect and deliver. Connect and deliver means government is an organization which is responsible for the welfare of the people, right? So all the welfare schemes of the government can be implemented with very fast pace, and it will be provided to all the people if they are on the basis of fintech. So all these reasons are there why government is promoting the fintech, right? Now before moving further, on the basis of this information, let's discuss one descriptive question, right? So I have asked you ki why government is promoting fintech, right? The question which I have asked you and you have answered me, a lot of people have answered me here ki this is the reason why government is promoting fintech, right? So what kind of the question they can ask on fintech, right? One of the possible question on the fintech is how fintech is going to play a key role in financial inclusion. You have to write an answer how fintech is going to play a key role in financial inclusion. So suppose if this question is going to be asked, how you are going to answer this question? I told you any answer have three parts, that is intro, body, and conclusion. In the introduction, you have to mention about what? The importance in the introduction part of this question, you have to highlight in intro what we are going to highlight. In intro, we are going to highlight importance of financial inclusion, right? In the introduction, we will just in the one line we are going to tell what is financial inclusion, and then immediately we will start highlighting the importance of financial inclusion. So in the first line you have explained what is financial inclusion. In the second line you have to explain why financial inclusion is very important for a country like India, right? Then you have to mention कि with the help of technology it is possible to specify the financial inclusion process, right? Then you have to mention about fintech and start writing how the fintechs are going to play a crucial role. Point wise or bullet in the bullets, you are going to mention these are the role, the important role played by the fintech in order to go for maximize the financial inclusion process. In this way you have to write. But when you are going to conclude, you also have to mention कि fintech is a new technology and still there are some vulnerabilities in the fintech, right? For example, the cyber attack, right? Illiteracy in India. So we are not just supposed to focus on what? The expansion of fintech, we must also focus on digital literacy, right? Digital literacy. So when the digital literacy is going to what? Expanded, then with the help of fintech, we can go for rapid expansion of financial inclusion in India. So when there is a question, and in that question, they are supposed to highlight. See, fintech is a new technology, right? Or new buzzword in the finance economy domain since last 3-4 years. So when something is new, right? So this is not just about this question. Just try to understand the bigger picture. If question is on some new technology or some new innovation and which have lot of potential, right, which have lot of potential, and question is asked to explain the role of the potential of new technology, then you can write it. But before concluding the answer, you have to put the caution against that technology. Yes, technology is very fine and good, but still we have to work on it to make it foolproof in order to maximize it right use. Right. Otherwise, it will also have a potential to create a problem. Right. So whenever the question is asked for optimism on something, ki this is very good thing, how we can use this thing, fine. So for example, digital currency, the RBI is going to introduce the digital currency. So how the central bank's digital currency is going to revolutionize? Yes, that is going to revolutionize the thing, but at the same time there are the certain vulnerabilities. So where you have to mention, student get confused, ki where should I mention? Sometimes they mention in the introduction. No, you should not mention the vulnerability about that thing which is being asked to exaggerate or explain. You should not mention the vulnerability of, for example, here the question is on what? Question is on fintech. And what you did, you started writing the negative thing about fintech in the beginning or in the body of the answer. Then the entire answer's flow is going to be get disturbed, right? It is going to be disturbed. You introduce, you criticize, then you are going to defend, then again criticize. So entire flow is going to what? Entire flow is going to be disturbed. Introduction, the qualities of that technology, how it is helpful, then just give a caution कि these technologies are having certain vulnerabilities, then conclude कि if we are able to mitigate those vulnerabilities, then technology can be used in more effective manner. So in this way, you have to write the answer like how fintech is going to play a key role in the financial inclusion. Got this point? Clear? Any doubt regarding this, how to write this answer? Any doubt? Okay. So we have discussed the philosophical basis for or rationale behind the fintech. We discussed why fintech is there, right? Now we have to discuss how this fintech works. Basically, what technology is there to make that work? What technology is being used to make this a fintech, right? So now the focus is on what? Tech part. Tech part of fintech. So what technologies are being used here in the fintech? Can you name those technologies? Can you name those technologies? The technologies which are used in the fintech. For example, in banking system, we have a core banking solution, right? Core banking solution, check truncation system, CTS, check truncation system. So similarly, in the fintech, what kind of the technologies are used? Artificial intelligence, AI, blockchain, AI, and biometric system. Okay, biometric system and UPI is a result of fintech. UPI is what? UPI is an application of the technology. UPI is an application of the technology. Unified Payment Interface is what? It's an application. I'm talking about what technologies are used. On those technologies, we are using certain application. They are based on technology. So what are the technology part, right? I'm not talking about the application part. So UPI is based on application. Cloud computing, internet of things. Acha. How internet of things is being used in this? So those who are mentioning these names, like for example, Yash mentioned that ki artificial intelligence and blockchain is used, biometric is used, GST network. Again, UPI and GST network both are what? They are the application of those technologies. They are not technology, they are application of those technology. I'm asking about what? Technology. Nobody is mentioning cryptography. Geotagging, yes. Large data storage system. What about this? Distributed ledger technology, DLT. Recently in news. Satyam is saying that geotagging is recently is news. So what is distributed ledger technology? Actually, in today's world, if you will see this fintech. So the core of fintech, see, fintech have two words, fin and tech. Fin is finance, tech is the technology. So the technology part of fintech, the technology part of the fintech is basically coming from these AI and ML, and these are based on what? Cryptography. So the tech part right now, it is basically means these are the three pillars, right? These are the pillars of the technology part of a fintech. Though there are the other things like big data, big data and data analytics. Big data and data analytics are also part, but the most important, the pillar on which this technologies are based, that is AI, machine learning, blockchain, distributed ledger technology. So blockchain and distributed ledger technology are basically a part of what? Cryptography. So do you know what is machine learning? Can anybody who is from computer science or that field can enlighten us what is machine learning? Hmm? Anyone who want to explain what is machine learning, artificial intelligence and machine learning? An example of machine learning. An example of machine learning. No one is know that how this machine learning works. Bots, ads in Google. Acha, how artificial intelligence AI is different from ML? How is AI is different from ML? Or what is the connection between how they are connected and what are the differences between AI and ML? Any idea? Face recognition in phones. Okay. AI is the next step of ML. Ah, this is not a proper explanation. Acha, tell me, there is a person. Okay, there is a person. This is a person, right? This is a person, and he get thirsty, right? प्यास लगी उसे. He get thirsty. Now he need water to drink a water, right? He need to drink a water. If he is going to get thirsty, he need to drink a water. Fine. So how the AI and machine learning is going to work, right? With the example of this man, I'm going to let you know how this AI and ML is going to work. Fine. So he is going to get thirsty, then he is going to drink the water, right? And how he is going to know that he is going to get thirsty? Fine. So the thing is, when he is walking or he is sitting or whatever his state right now, when the level of water is going to decrease in his body, his throat is going to get dry, right? And this information from throat is going to where? Brain. And brain is going to give you an idea ki when your throat is going to get dry, right? Then in order to make it wet, what you have to do, you have to drink a water. So your brain has given you the input, and the basis of that input, you started searching the things which look like a water, right? So you find a bottle and you open that bottle, and after opening that bottle, you put the water in the glass and started drinking, right? So when you start drinking the water, then at a point of time, your stomach is going to give again what? A code to brain ki now requirement is fulfilled, and brain again going to let your hand to stop right now, right? Mouth and hand are going to stop right now. Fine. So this is the way how your body as a machine working with the help of what? Brain. That is your intelligence part. The intelligence part. Now we have to fill all this intelligent information automatically in a machine. So artificially we have to make an intelligent organism. So we have to make an organism which is going to what? Which is going to be artificially intelligent, right? So artificially intelligent, so that it is going to gratify its requirement on its own. Fine. So now what we do, we are going to use the artificial intelligence in a machine. So we suppose that we have a car or bike, right? So we have a car or bike. So car is not going to know automatically कि now petrol is what finished, right? It is not going to automatically know कि petrol is going to finish. How it is going to know that? We are going to put certain chip in the tank, right? So when the level of petrol is going to below that chip and it is going to read that reading, then that chip is going to provide a mechanical indication on your board that is fuel is low and you are going to refuel your vehicle. So that chip is providing what? The data. So it is the simplest way of what? Providing an artificial intelligence. Now these days we have a supercomputer, we have very powerful chip. So those chips and computers, they are able to process more and more complex information and data. More and more complex information and data within very short span of time. So that's why your processing speed is going to get what? Much faster day by day. So that's why the artificial intelligence work in very important way. So artificial intelligence is going to make your machine learn the information. So that's why they are used, get means together what? The artificial intelligence and machine learning. So with the help of artificial intelligence, you are going to make your things, which are the electronic devices basically, to learn those information and act accordingly. So the bots, the chat bots, they are basically comprised of both artificial intelligence and machine learning. Fine. So they are going to identify the particular term and accordingly they are going to work. Sir, we can say that ki ML is trained and AI is well educated in simple language like 3 decades. No. You can't say this thing. ML and AI is going to work together. Without ML, AI is not going to work, and without AI, ML is not going to work. So you need both simultaneously in order to function properly, right? Both are required at the given point of time in order to process the information in the correct manner. If you have only artificial intelligence but there is nothing like to execute that thing, then it is not going to work, right? Your machine is well smart enough कि after this point of time, what? After this point of time we are going to face this situation, but once you identified the problem, so there should be a what? A process of resolving that problem. So machine learning is going to enable it. So in the chatbot, if you have put the question, and artificial intelligence identified that you are asking this thing, then immediately the response must become na. So how you are going to execute that response? With the help of machine learning. If your machine is not learned that thing, how you are going to execute that thing? In machine learning, we feed the result to predetermined output. Yes, Satyam. धर्मेंद्र सिंह सर, आई बॉट योर कोर्स बट स्कीम की पीडीएफ डाउनलोड नहीं हो रही है. धर्मेंद्र सिंह जी, आपसे मेरा सादर निवेदन है, प्लीज कृपया करके आप समझिए इस बात को कि मैं इस संस्थान के अंदर एक शिक्षक मात्र हूं. मेरा किसी भी तरह की प्रशासनिक व्यवस्था से कोई लेना देना नहीं है, इसलिए इस मामले में, इस विषय में मैं आपकी कोई सहायता नहीं कर सकता. कृपया करके इस ग्रुप के एडमिन से आप संपर्क करें, वो आपकी सहायता कर सकते हैं. मैं ये कर सकता हूं कि आपका ये मैसेज मैं उन तक पहुंचा सकता हूं, ठीक है. बाकी मैं इसके अलावा और कोई सहायता नहीं कर सकता कि कौन सी चीज पीडीएफ डाउनलोड हो रही है, नहीं डाउनलोड हो रही है. आई एम सो सॉरी, मेरा उससे लेना देना ही नहीं है. मेरा काम सिर्फ यहाँ पर आपको पढ़ाना है, उससे रिलेटेड आपके क्वेश्चंस का आंसर करना है, बस इतना ही रोल है मेरा, ठीक है. मैं छोटा सा आदमी हूँ भाई, पढ़ाता हूँ बस, मैं संस्थान नहीं चलाता. तो कृपया मेरी बात को समझने का कोशिश करिए. मैं आखिरी बार आपको ये बात समझाने की कोशिश कर रहा हूँ कि मेरा इन सब चीजों से कोई लेना देना नहीं है, राइट. And any other student who is listening this lecture or going to listen that lecture in future, the recorded part, Please try to understand, I am just a faculty, right? Nothing else. So I do not have any administrative related responsibility of crack grade B. Yes, if you have an issue, it's not being resolved, I'll request Ashok ji. He's definitely going to resolve your issue. He's very humble and genuine person. He's definitely always try. But humanly, it is not possible for everyone to attend the calls every time. Maybe he's busy and he's not able to take the call. I'll send your message. Okay, so I hope AI and ML is clear. How this AI and ML is going to work. How this AI and ML works. Because it's not required for us to go more details because it's pure technological part and it is not our requirement to go much means too deep in the technological part. What is technology and how it works? That is more than sufficient. Okay, so we just understood what is AI and ML. Now we have to understand what is blockchain and other is distributed ledger technology. Distributed ledger technology. And both are based on what? Cryptography. What is cryptography? What is cryptography? Rajnish, post your question to Ashok ji directly from the group. He will answer your question ki how it can be resolved, your issue. Okay. How your issue can be resolved, Ashok ji will answer. In fact, just post your message again. I will take a screenshot and I will send it to Ashok ji. Dharmen, your message, and Rajnish, your message also I will send to Ashok ji right now. So he will contact you. Encryption or the secure way of passing information from one place to another place, that is cryptography. Okay. Any other answer? What is cryptography? Encrypted or the secured way of passing the information from one place to another place. That answer is correct. Cryptography is encoding the information in the digital format. Okay. Any other input anyone want to provide about the cryptography? Passing info in the hidden way. Okay. In the digital format. Sir, kindly increase your pace. Acha, okay. So, what is basically cryptography? Cryptography is a way how we are going to send the message in the encrypted way so that the message which is intended to for particular person, it is going to reach that person only, not to other person. Fine. So this is how we are going to do what? Our message, we are going to what? Encode it, and after encoding, it is going to what? It is going to reach the desired person. Person A is sending a message to person B, so it is going to be encoded, and here it is going to be what? Decoded, right? So we have to create some kind of the feature so that when we are sending the message, it is going to be what? Encoded, and it is going to be decoded where? At person B. So if the A and B are distance away, A and B are distance away, then what we have to do, if A is sending a message in the encoded way, right? So he also have to send this message to B in such a way, not only the encoded part, he also have to send a message how B can decode that message, right? So when the information is going to be sent by A to B, so A have to send two things. One, the information which is encoded, and along with that you also have to send how you can decode that information. For example, when your bank statement is going to be downloaded, means sent by the banks to your mail, so then bank is going to send the statement in the what? PDF, which is the encryption of password. But at the same time, they also must have to provide you the hint how you can get your password. So if anyone who know your date of birth, right, and your name, he can decrypt it, because the message is mentioned there कि you can decrypt your message in this way. So whenever we will send a message and we want nobody should read that message, only the person who is going to get that message, only he can read. So we have to pass two information, the message and how to decode it, right? And that is why the entire system get vulnerable. Fine. Why? So you have sent the email, the confidential email, in the encrypted way, but at the same time you have to provide the decrypting code to that person to whom the message is intended, right? So the new innovation in the cryptography is what? Public key and personal key. Public key and personal key is being used. So when now A is about to send message to whom? B. Then A is going to ask whom? B, ki what is your public key? So with the help of that public key, A is going to send that message to whom? B. Now this message can be what? This message is going to be unlocked by B only with what? Only with the personal key which you have. Example, bank is sending you a mail about your bank statement, and that bank statement is coming in the form of a PDF file which is encrypted, and for that bank is also sending what is the hint, how you can decode or how you can get the password for that mail. So bank is mentioning what? Bank is mentioning this is what? This is the way how you can put the password in your PDF file. Just imagine, rather than doing this, you and your bank both are what? Both are linked to where? Both are linked to Adobe Cloud, right? Both are linked to Adobe Cloud. So if both are linked to Adobe Cloud, then bank just ask you ki what is your, means you, what is your unique public ID? Like you have UPI ID, so bank is going to ask you ki what is your public ID? So you told bank ki this is my public ID. Fine. So bank has uploaded the information in that public ID. Same time, Adobe is not providing just public ID. Adobe is also providing you what? Adobe is also providing you a personal ID, which can be anything, so when the bank has uploaded your statement in the Adobe Cloud, you went to the Adobe Cloud, you saw that there is an information in my name in the public domain. So you pick that information and you put your what? You put your personal key and you open that document. So that document can be opened by you only. Fine. So this is what? This is the one way. But here there is a problem. What is problem? Bank and individual. Both are connected to whom? Adobe Cloud. So this process of encryption and decryption is what? It is administered by whom? It is administered by a central authority. The central authority, that is Adobe, which is providing a public key and personal key, public key and personal key to both bank as well as individuals. So Adobe Cloud System is providing personal key and public key to both whom? Bank as well as individual. So rather than targeting individual or rather than targeting bank, hackers are going to target what? Adobe Cloud. Adobe Cloud. So this is why the central authorities are always vulnerable for hacking attack. Right? So that's why the cryptographers or those people who are expert in the cryptography, they started using what? The concept known as, we have central authority. So if we are going to do what? We are going to break this central authority in decentralized authority. Not entire information available at single place, right? The entire information is not available at single place, but this piece of information of Adobe Cloud, it is going to be fragmented in small pieces. The information in the small pieces is divided, and after dividing those information in small pieces, right, what you did, you fragmented the information. Now these pieces are fragmented from central authority. They are fragmented in the small pieces like this, right? They are fragmented in the small pieces, and all pieces are interconnected with each other. Okay, they are interconnected with each other. Now, in order to break that chain, in order to hack that information, you must have an access of all pieces. Earlier, that information at one place, entire information is at one place. So for hackers, it was quite easy to break that information. Now, in the blockchain, with the help of cryptography went to an advanced level. Under that, what we did, in the form of blocks, we divided the entire information which was available at central level. We have divided that information in what? Blocks. We divided that information in blocks, and that block, with the help of distributed ledger technology, those blocks were distributed in entire decentralized network. Now annotation is available for you because there was some system error and all of a sudden this was stopped. Are you able to see this PDF on your screen? Please answer me quickly. Okay, fine. So first we introduced a cryptography. The cryptography provided what? An advancement by providing two things. One, the public key, another is what? Another is a personal key. So we have personal key and public key, but the problem is at the central level, all the information is going to stored at one place. So the vulnerability at central authority, because hackers are going to attack on that central authority. Fine. So this is why what we did, we fragmented the entire information in small blocks, and these blocks were distributed over a network, and they are connected with each other. So in order to do that thing, you must have all the pieces of information. To gather those information, it's almost impossible. Why? Because every block have what? Every block have two keys: personal key and public key. So once it is going to be what? Once it is going to be uh, authenticated with public key by every block, only then you can make that entire information at your place. So this is why it is almost foolproof. I said almost, not completely foolproof, but it is almost foolproof as of right now, and it is not possible for the hackers to break that. They cannot break, but they can deceive, right? They cannot break, but they can deceive by deceiving the various ways. There are the various methods. It is not required to discuss here, but there are certain methods. In the recent time, we have found that the database, the crypto database is being hacked. So what they did, they have not break that information. Actually, they have deceived that with that information. Like sometimes what happened, you have seen the brand, right? You went for the purchasing of particular brand, and it is depicting like identical. For example, these watch right now, it's a trend of having a digital watch, but watch, and especially the costly watch like Rolex. Fine. So all these watch are very famous, and it's very hard to find it whether it is original or not. For example, Rolex, which is very costly, one of the costliest watch, maybe it is costing somewhere around 3.5 lakh. Right? The cost of watch is 3.5 lakh, and almost similar and identical copy of that watch is available in the market somewhere around 55,000 to 50,000. 55,000 still means the first copy is costly around 55 to 50,000, and it is almost identical. It is very difficult to find it out. So what we did, if we are not able to if we are not able to stole that watch, we have replicated that watch with the duplicate watch, right? So this is the another way how you can hack in the system, rather than rather than stealing that entire information, you have replaced that information. So recently we have seen certain instances when there is an attack on blockchain system, and there was a heist where the entire money was being transferred from the people's account to another person's account, but it is not possible to break it right now. Fine, maybe it will be replaced but cannot be broken down. So in this way, this blockchain system work, and those people who are continuously working in those blocks, right, they are providing all these things, they are considered as what? Mining. You know what is mining? Mining in the blockchain, how it's work? Mining. So miners are who? Who are continuously available in this local network, right? Those who are always active in the local network, in those local networks, with the piece of information, doing the authentication, providing the information, and they are most of the time authenticating all this information. So those are known as what? Miners, because they are always available to authenticate and passing the information. So that's why this is called as a mining, and if you are going to do the mining, you will be rewarded, right? So you will be rewarded. So that's why mining need a lot of effort, and you must have very powerful computers with yourself, so that you can do the mining work on the continuous basis. Initially, when there was a not too much load on this blockchain mining, the initial years of the initial years of Bitcoin, so mining was not too much difficult as it is of right now. Earlier, it was not so difficult because the load of information on those local networks was not too much. But over the years, Bitcoin has gained the momentum. Now, the information overload is too much, and you need very powerful computers in order to do the mining part. But obviously, yes, if you are going to do this mining, you will be rewarded in terms of what? Some part of Bitcoins. Okay. So So I hope this is clear. These terms are clear. What is blockchain? What is crypto? And what is distributed ledger? Distributed ledger means what? Distributing the entire information which is available at one place, just fragment this information in the decentralized way. So sometimes when the question is asked, what is blockchaining? So people say that it is the decentralization of the information. So how this information decentralized? We broke that information and distributed every piece of information with two keys, public key and personal key. Right? Clear? Any questions on it? If you do not have any question, just let me know quickly so I can move forward. क्या हो रहा है ये? Yes, Vishwas, you need a very means you have to spend hefty amount of money if you want to do the mining. But I hope what is mining, what is blockchain, how distributed ledger work, and how this cryptography work, how we can mine the bitcoins or these things. I hope this is clear, right? So now come back again on our the main theme that was fintech. So till then now what I explained you the basis of fintech, why fintech gain momentum, why they are in news, right? Why government is focusing on it, and I also explained how it works. What are the basic things? AI, ML plus blockchains plus distributed ledger technology, right? So these are one of the few important bases, right? Apart from that, we also need what? We also need data, right? Data. And here, big data and data analytics play an important role. What is big data? Karishma, they have not hacked the information. They just what? They replace the original information with the identical but duplicate information, right? When you are not able to what? You are not able to take the entire information. What you did, you just replace with the fake information, and you are pretending this is an original information. So this is an original information and this is what? This is the duplicate information. So what you did, you just replaced the original information and you put the duplicate information, and all the miners, all those people who are involved, rather than going there, they started going here, right? So original information is there, but in original information is overlapped by what? Overlapped by duplicate information, and with that, you are able to get the access of the people's account. So in this way, they have hacked. So now fintech. See, so fintech, how they work at the technological level, we got this understanding. Now the question is, because the fintech are going to work with the people, right? And they have to provide money or their financial requirement to them, right? So fintech are going to fulfill requirements. They are going to what? They are going to fulfill the requirements. So requirements of whom? People, right? And which requirement? That is financial requirements. So in order to fulfill that financial requirement, right, and especially through what? With the help of technology, that means no physical verification, no collateral is involved, right? So fintech means what? Or no or minimum physical verification of the data and information, fine, and no collateral is involved. So that is why fintech are also vulnerable, or they are too much exposed to high risk, right? So in order to minimize that risk, fintechs are dependent on what? Fintechs on dependent on data and data analytics, right? So how they are going to work? For example, uh, you ordered a pizza, right? You ordered a pizza from Domino's, and the order value is somewhere around 7 to 800. Okay, so order value is somewhere around 7 to 800. So how this big data and data analytics is going to work? So when you order that pizza from your app, right, from your mobile application, fine. So when you are ordering and you are making a payment, so while making a payment, suppose that you are using UPI or you are going to use any platform, bank is going to pay on your behalf to Domino's, right? Then once the payment is being done from your bank to Domino's, the message is going to come in your mobile phone. Fine. So message is received, your account is debited by 780 rupees, for example. Fine. So this message is going to be stored in your inbox. Okay. And when you download those apps, right, when you download those apps, many of those apps, they have the permission to read your messages also, right? They will not allow you to operate their application until unless you are going to allow them to read your messages. So they maybe say that we are not reading all the messages, right? But they generally read all the messages. So there is an app, XYZ app in your mobile phone, which is reading that data. What data? How much is debited? 780 rupees is debited, right? 780 rupees is debited. Now suppose that you ordered pizza 3 times in a particular month. Fine. So that 3 times data from you is taken by that app, and that app is sending that data to its server. Right? So in a month, 3 times you ordered, and order value is somewhere around 700 to 800 rupees. That means in a month, in a month, right? We have total, suppose 60 meals. We have total 60 meals, and out of this 60 meal, how much money you have spent on 3 meals? You have spent somewhere around 2200 rupees on 3 meals out of this 60 meals, right? 60 meals in a day, we are going to take lunch and dinner, right? So in that way, in a month, 60 meals, and out of 60 meals, you have spent somewhere around how much? 2200. Now the artificial intelligence, machine learning, and the data, they are going to work in the synchronization. They are going to work in the synchronization. How? If you are spending 2200 rupees on 3 meals out of how much? 60. That means still how much? 57 meals are left. Now with the help of social media, whenever you will go some place, the good place which is good with the ambience, or you are going for the dinner, people will click the photo and they will upload on the social media platform. All this information is also what? All this information is also analyzed by that app, right? So app has calculated on 3 meals you ordered at your home, you spent 2200 rupees, while remaining 57 meals you have spent somewhere around 6,000 rupees on remaining, not entire, but on 10 meals. And you went outside, right? You went outside and you spent how much? 6,000 rupees. So you spent how much? You spent 8,200 rupees for 13 meals. Fine. So for 13 meals, you have spent 8,200 rupees out of how much? 60 meals. So still how much left? 47 meals are still left. So they are going to calculate, right? They are again going to calculate for that 47 meals. You are ordering groceries, you are ordering vegetables, all these things you are ordering. So by that info, they are going to calculate how much money. Suppose XYZ amount of money. So in total, somewhere around 18,000 rupees you have spent on your meals in a month. So if a person is spending somewhere around 80,000, 18,000 rupees on a meal for his family in a month, that means he is going to have somewhere income band around 80,000 to 1,20,000. Right. So in this basis, he analyzed all the data, and on the basis of this data, he got the calculation that this man or this woman have a liability of this with the bank. But means the application read all of your information and they process those information, and with the help of those information, they are going to offer some finance related things. Fine. So this is how this big data and data analytics work in order to sort it out. What is your exact requirement? What is your exact requirement? So without you are going to them, I need this amount of money for this purpose. They are going to check continuously what you are searching, where you are going, what you are eating, right? All these information they are gathering, you can say secretly, right? Not secretly, because every time they are going to ask this is our terms and conditions, if you agree only then proceed, and you always push what? Agree button to move forward. So they took your consent and then they are collecting all the data, and with the help of all these data they are going to offer what? They are going to offer all these financial solutions as per your requirement. So this is how this entire fintech is going to work. So most of the time you are not supposed to reach them, they are going to reach you with the help of their data analytics, their artificial intelligence, their machine learning. They are going to reach you and they are going to provide you the solution in the most easiest and efficient manner with minimum documentation is required, right? Whereas banks and big NBFCs, they under RBI guidelines, they must have to fulfill all the KYC norms and each and everything. So for bank and other organization, that is lot of paperwork. All these things is required in order to fulfill those financial requirements. But the fintech, these fintech, they are not going to check your credit score. Most of the time they are not going to check your credit score. They are going to rely on what? They are going to rely on the data analytics. They are going to capture your data, and on the basis of that data they are going to analyze all those data, and then they are going to provide you what? Then they are going to provide you the finance related solutions. Okay, so clear how this data analytics and big data works? If you remember that year back or 1.5 year back, Facebook was caught on this leaking this information of data, right? And recently the issue of Pegasus, the secret information. So that was a different thing. Pegasus is a means it's a personal level kind of the thing. But how the fintech work, they work in the same manner. So so we have discussed what? We have discussed all important aspects of what? Fintech, like what it is, how it works, why they are in news, and why they are growing. Right. Now, what we have discussed till then now, what it is, and the positive side of fintech. Let's now move towards what? Negative effects or negative thing about the fintech. So let's start with you. Anyone who is here who want to tell what are the problems or what is the vulnerability? One is a problem, means they are not able to work efficiently. Other is they are working efficiently, but maybe that working itself is going to create a big problem. So please let me know. Till then, I can give you water. Where is Satyam? No answer. Now pace is okay. You are requesting regarding the pace. Pace is okay, or I have to pacify further from 1x to 1.25x. I have to go. Tell me. Negative side of fintech. See, the two most important thing, right? Fintechs are, they are relying on what? They are relying on info, right? Info which is based on digital behavior footprint. They are relying on what? Digital behavior or footprint, right? Means first I'm telling you why fintech itself are vulnerable. Why fintech itself are vulnerable. This is the first part under the negative part of fintech. First, I'll tell you what are the problems with the fintech. Then I will let you know how a fintech can be a problem for the people, right? So first, what problems may fintech can face? First, because whatever the information they do have or the data analytics they are doing, that is based on personal digital footprint and digital behavior rather than original behavior, right? Rather than the original behavior. So sometimes what happened ki maybe people are trying to be having a lavish life in the digital manner, but actually their financial condition is not so good and proper, right? So that's why you are processing the entire financial requirements of that person on the basis of their digital behavior only, right? Whereas earlier in the past few years back, bank generally preferred to visit that person's place, right? Where the person who is requesting for loan, bank do have the procedure in person visit, right? In person visit. Even earlier for the credit card you have to apply, they will visit at your place, they will search certain information. These days bank people will not visit, but at least they will check your information proof, information regarding your income proof. They will ask you to show your ITR or provide me the source of your income. All these information they are going to ask, right? Whereas the fintech are more and more dependable on what? Only digital behavior and footprints, rather than going for exactly important information like the income information, right? So this is what vulnerability with the fintech is there. Okay. Personal data stolen, privacy interference. Vedamrita is saying that data losses can be a problem. Vidisha, what you have just mentioned, that is related to the people, right? We are discussing what fintech is going to face a problem, right? So your answer is correct, but we are going to discuss in the second half. First, we are going to discuss the problem itself with the fintech. Vedamutta is saying that, sir, data loss can be a problem. Yes. So fintech are going to do what? Fintechs are more and more relying on big data, but at the same time they are also using what? They are also using blockchain. They are also using blockchain. So if they are using data analytics, they are using the big data, that's fine. But if they are not using the blockchains, then it is, yes, the problem you have identified, it's absolutely a big challenge and issue. For example, we have seen that if few months or few means a year back the Zomato's data was stolen, then again other companies data was stolen. So this data theft, right? The data theft is a problem. So fintech, in order to remove their vulnerability, they must go for what? Blockchaining, or using more and more this crypto based technology, that is blockchaining plus distributed ledger technology. So this is the solution also. First we have identified the problem of what? Data loss. Data loss, or data may be vulnerable being stolen, right? So maybe it is going to be stolen or it is going to lost, right? Hackers can target those data, but if you are going to use those blockchain and distributed ledger technology, then fintech are not supposed to face too much problem regarding what? Regarding this. सर बीच बीच में काफी बफर और स्टक हो रहा है. uh, is anyone else is also facing the same issue? So Vrashali, maybe your means at your end there is an issue. Maybe the issue is with your end. Others are not facing this issue. So data loss was an issue, but recently, because more and more fintechs are transferring their data towards what? Blockchaining and distributed ledger technology. So that vulnerability is going to be what? Decimated over the time. But this fintechs, this fintech are based on what? Digital behavior and footprint. On the basis they are doing this lending, right? And this lending is what? This lending is based on digital behavior, and that lending is without collateral. So without collateral, you are lending, and you are lending to those people who do not have, means they have not provided you their income proof, right? So if fintech is going to face such kind of the risk related issues, so it is going to be like the issue or the global financial crisis or 2007-8, that was also known as subprime lending crisis. So subprime lending crisis. So fintech are what? Expanding their base on gradual manner in last few years. So if fintech are going to what? Unregulated, uncontrolled financing of those people who are not worthy enough to get the finance because they do not have an ability to repay the money, right? Then in that case, maybe the entire fintech kind of the industry start going to collapse, because in the industry, means like banking, finance, we always see the spiral effect is going to work in what? In very short span of time. Like Lehman Brothers Bank fallen and other banks are also fallen due to this global financial crisis generated by subprime lending crisis. So if fintech are also going to grow in the gradual manner over the time, and fintech are going to follow this model only without going for what? Without going for proper verification of income and other proof, then that might be a problem, right? Though RBI has taken certain step in this regard, and I will discuss with you, but that maybe have a big problem over the years if fintech are going to rise in the same manner, right? Now the other thing is, so I have discussed the vulnerability with the fintech. The vulnerability with the fintech. Now I'm going to let you know the vulnerability because of fintech. Because of fintech. So same thing. Fintech are going to provide you what? Money. Right? Fintechs are going to provide you the money with minimum documentation, even you are not fulfilling that criteria, right? So many times people who are not capable of returning that money, right, they are also going to be get tempted, and they are going to borrow the money at interest rate which is higher, can be 28%, right? So on such an exorbitantly high interest rate you are going to borrow despite knowing that ki maybe I'm not able to repay that money. Then that person's financial condition is going to be worsened. One problem. And in the recent time we have seen that some fintech are doing malpractices. They are, despite knowing that they are not able to proceed it properly, still they are using the malpractices in order to what? In order to deceive those customers. Means they are providing the lucrative thing despite knowing that you are not able to repay on the time, so you are going to collect more hefty penalty from them. Means you have given the loan of 1 lakh rupees and maximum interest you are going to get for how much? 1,28,000, despite knowing that this person is not able to pay. So you are calculating ki if he is not going to pay, then I will collect the penalty every time, right? Because he is not able to pay. So suppose that 1,28,000 the final amount the person have to pay in the what? The given duration, that is 2 years, suppose. Okay, so in the 2 years he have to repay. He borrowed how much? 1 lakh, and the interest rate is 28%, suppose. So 1,28,000 he have to pay in a span of what? 24 months. So you calculated that this person is not able to pay the EMIs on time. You calculated that. Despite knowing this factor, he is not able to pay the EMIs in the given time, you disburse the loan. Then, when he failed to pay the EMI, that fintech, with the help of local people or Muslims, they started trying to harass that person. You must pay that money, right? And pay that EMI with penalty. So every time they are going to put certain extra charges. So actually, what your target was what? Your target was कि we will disburse this loan of 1,28,000 he have to pay, and we know that he is not able to pay the EMIs on time. So he is going to end up by paying 1,50,000 or even more money. So this is the bad thing, the worst part, right? The ethical part is not there. You are deliberately doing this activity because you know this vulnerability. So this is why sometimes fintech working must be properly regulated, to whom and how much they are going to give the loan, right? So it was essentially required. Okay, so these are vulnerabilities involved with what? Involved with the fintech. So fintech is a part of our financial system. So fintech is going to be under whose regulatory framework? I don't think this is very hard question to answer. Fintechs are going to be under regulatory procedure of which organization? SEBI, RBI, or NABARD? It is RBI. So RBI is what? RBI is a regulating body on whom? Fintech. Right. So RBI is providing the regulatory framework, and under that regulatory framework, all fintechs must register themselves at what? NBFC. Right? Non-banking financial company. You have to register yourself. Only then you can start a business. So fintechs are going to get a license of what? They are going to get the license as a non-banking financial company. So you must have to fulfill certain terms and conditions which is put forward by RBI as an NBFC, non-deposit accepting NBFC. That kind of the criteria you must have to fulfill, right? After that, certain limitations means in terms of what? Selective credit control. Selective credit control, under this RBI have a certain regulations. For example, the maximum exposure to a particular person. Maximum exposure to a particular person by various fintech cannot exceed more than 50,000, and the amount which is disbursed to that person cannot have EMI more than 36 months. Right. So certain kind of regulations are being put forward by the RBI in order to prevent unnecessary mushrooming of these fintech in India, right? To prevent the unnecessary mushrooming of this fintech in India, RBI has put certain credit control related regulation over this fintech companies, right? Apart from that, RBI do also have regulatory sandbox. RBI also have regulatory sandbox. So what is sandbox? In context of regulation. In context of regulation, what is sandbox? Anyone? What is sandbox? See, I'll give you an example. You know about DRDO, responsible for developing of various system, right? Responsible for development of the various system, especially missiles, right? BrahMos, right? BrahMos missile. So BrahMos missile is developed by whom? BrahMos missile is developed by DRDO, right? With the help of a Russian firm. Fine. So one way is of developing any missile, right? Is what? It is develop, then go for what? Testing, then ask user to trial, then induction. Induction of that system, right? Induction of that system. So this testing is done by what? DRDO. Then the armed forces are going for what? User trial. So what you are going to do, you have done one thing. You involve the armed forces at the stage of developing and testing, right? So for example, the recent example is Astra missile. So it is a kind of example of sandbox. So Air Force told DRDO कि we need this thing, right? So accordingly, DRDO started developing, and with the development means once the model is ready, at the same time, rather than DRDO is going to test it, who started testing? IAF, Indian Air Force started testing it, and wherever IAF told that ki this is still something is missing. We have to change it. So accordingly, DRDO started changing those systems and subsystems. So the the entire time taken for the development of that missile has took very small amount of time, right? So this is how we do both things simultaneously, and we can reduce the time taken for that purpose. Now, in the context of regulatory framework, how it works. So there is a new technology, right? So RBI said that ki, okay, you start using that thing, right? You start using that thing, and while user trial, wherever things are required to be regulated, accordingly we will provide the certain directions, certain regulation in order to control that thing. So fintech is in working, right? And at the time of working, wherever the vulnerabilities, wherever the regulations, wherever the limitations are being required, RBI is going to put those regulations, limitations and requirements there, right? So one model is what we have prepared, something we have tested at our level. We are going to test, validation, test validation, reliability test, all these things we are going to do. Then we are going to put that thing in the public domain or the user's domain, right? And then he is again going to test ki whether it is working or not. Fine. So rather than doing all these steps, we immediately going to put in what? Put in the domain where it is going to be used, and in that domain it is going to be worked, and wherever it is required, we can make certain changes, right? So this is why, means this is how the regulatory sandbox works. But why they use this name sandbox? Why they use this name sandbox? So sand is like what? If you are going to put sand, right? Especially hota hai na, means people will go to beach and they will make few things with the help of sand, right? So sand is a kind of thing you can change the shape and size according to the requirements very soon and while working on that thing. So that's why the term is used as regulatory sandbox. So that while working, we can make the changes or we can fix the rule of game, right? So game is going on, game is played, and while the game is played, we can define certain rules and regulation when the situation is going to arise in that particular place, right? For example, in the gully cricket, like कि one tip out hai, means if ball is going to what? Ball is going to touch the ground and it is going to bounce and somebody is going to catch, then you are out. If ball is went to any home, you are getting out. So you have made the certain rules and regulations according to that name. So what that gully cricket have, that is also a regulatory sandbox. So we are going to fix the minimum rules for the gully cricket as per the local need, as per the environmental requirement of that particular area. So similarly, in the regulatory sandbox, we are also going to do the same thing. Clear? Regulatory sandbox, how it is works, it is clear. Okay, so we discuss all related things to what? fintech. Okay, so we already discussed all things related to fintech. Now, if you have any other question, please ask me, I will answer. So from my side, fintech part is over. What you have to do, go back to your notes, read those notes related to fintech which is available in your app, read those notes, and then again, if you have any question, please let me know. Okay, now fintech is over. Fintech is over. Tomorrow, I will discuss tomorrow because as I told you, what I am going to do, do, I will give the revision plus descriptive part. Revision plus descriptive part I am going to do. So tomorrow I am going to take policy. Anything you want to suggest, रजनीश सर? मैंने मीडियम ऑफ रिटन एग्जाम फेज 2 हिंदी कर दिया है गलती से, तो क्या मैं एग्जाम के टाइम पर चेंज कर सकता हूँ या हिंदी में ही लिखना होगा? प्लीज आंसर दिस क्वेश्चन. आई एम फॉरवर्डिंग दो योर क्वेश्चन टू, जस्ट गिव मी अ सेकंड. Just give me a second, I'll answer your question. Phase 1 CA revision. CA revision. मनीत रात लॉगिन का इशू आ रहा है बार बार ऐप में. Okay, just give me a minute. I'll ask Ashok ji to join this session so that he can answer these questions. CA, Vrishali, just give me some time so that I can figure it out how I can do that thing. Means in next 2 days I will let you know whether how and I'm going to do that thing. And tomorrow's revision topic is, tomorrow we are going to take the topic of what? Monetary policy. So what I will do, I will discuss, means I will first go for revision and then I'll take related questions, right? So this is we are going to discuss tomorrow. Okay. So regarding first Rajneesh's question, Rajneesh, you need not to worry. It's fine. It's fine. You can choose at the time of exam English medium. Regarding regarding question of Manmeet, what you have to do, clear the browsing history. Actually, they have increased the security feature. Now you cannot log in with the multiple devices. At a time, you can log in only in the one device. If you are logged in the multiple device, maybe you are facing this login issue. So one step, log in only in the one device and clear the browsing history or use the incognito mode. I did the unmute. Still, I am on mute. Vishwas, you can join directly. No issues. No issues. I'll discuss in detail. So no need to worry. Using single device, then clear the browsing history and clear the cache and try to use another browser. So these basic things you can try. Still, it is not working. Then let me know. I'll ask Ashokji in this regard. Okay. Any other question? Sir, any course for 2023? Course for 2023, we are planning to launch immediately after this Grade B exam. For NABARD, we are going to launch in next few days. Means in next 10 to 15 days, we are going to launch a program for NABARD. And for Grade B, immediately after the Grade B phase 2 exam, we are going to launch. तो ग्रेड बी का लॉन्च होना है, दोनों लॉन्च कर रहे हैं. Okay then. So all of you, please revise the monetary policy part. I'll take the revision session and I'll discuss all descriptive related questions in that session. Okay. So time to say good night. Thank you very much to all of you for joining this session. See you tomorrow. Okay. Bye bye.